Record. Hello, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the DJ Storybook series, how the COVID-19 has affected our lives in the arts and beyond. Today's quote, collective arts, how arts need to come together in this time period. Do we all agree on that? Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So let's do, you know what we should do? Let's do an introduction. So I'll just say I'm Brian Murphy. I'm the host of this interview series. Trad, why don't you introduce who you are?
Hi, I'm Trad Burns. I'm a Cleveland-based scenic lighting designer and one of the founders of The City Is Our Stage.
Excellent. Sarah, go ahead.
Sarah Morrison, director of Morrison Dance, a small dance in the area, but also one of the founders of The City Is Our Stage.
Excellent. Chuck?
My name is Chuck Karnak. I'm a self-employed production engineer and also one of the founders of City Is Our Stage.
Excellent. And then Kenya?
Hi, I'm Kenya. I am Cleveland-based, mostly a choreographer now, but I'm a dancer and a performer for The City Is Our Stage.
So should I ask who was like the mind? Who created this from the beginning? Who was the first person to call?
Brian, everyone asks us that question, but if I may say, it really was one of those things that came out of the ether of all of us having independent thoughts and coming together and finding the right people. I actually reached out to Trad when I was Zoom dying, and I was like, Trad, I have all these ideas about performing with cars. Trad was like, I've been talking to Chuck already about these things.
Yep.
We should all talk together. And that was like, what, Trad, in March?
That was in March, right?
Yeah, that was in March.
Right after things started to, everything started to close, we right away, all of us individually recognized that we needed to come up with other ideas. And we all have worked with each other so much over the years. So it really seemed logical for us to come together, one, because none of us think inside a box. And so we really wanted to create something, that was going to celebrate as many artists in Cleveland that wanted to be a part of it, since everybody's performance locations are pretty much closed right now.
So how many artists are part of this? How many artists are part of this series here that we're going to see? How many artists?
Trad, it's 28.
28 of them. Excellent.
And it's a really diverse group. We have dancers, we have musicians, we have actors, we have singers, we have an opera singer, we have aerialists. It's a really wide variety of Cleveland art.
So if they're watching this interview right now, give dates and times and just kind of give that out right now. That way we're going to put the link on so they can link on. So people can get access to it. But go ahead and somebody give some more information about exactly times and dates.
The performance is Saturday, August 15th. There are 10 routes that you can pick from. Our favorite one is the Surprise Me route, where you just get to pick a ticket and be completely surprised. And then there are other routes where you can pick performers that you would like to see independently of that. The first route starts at 12:35 p.m. and there are pretty much showings every half hour after that until about 4:30 or 5 p.m. Is that correct, Trad?
Yes, yeah, 4:30 to 5 o'clock, depends upon which route. So they're different, every route has a start time, and then the next start time for that route starts a half hour later.
So, Chuck,
Yes.
I have a question for you. So, here we are, February, mid-March before COVID happened. Once we all started to close down, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
Oh, I mean, really, in the production world, it was, the first thought was how much money we were all losing with all the work that was completely gone. And, you couldn't even argue that point. You understood it. It was just a reality of what we were dealing with. Then trying to come to terms with that, and then having time on our hands, because I know I had time on my hands. I reached out to Trad because we didn't know what it was going to take to get back to work when that time came. So those were the basic conversations. an entire industry was gone. And there's still, even now, not a whole lot of people talking about, we don't even have a plan to restart the production work. And so that evolved into, trying to figure out what we could do now. We had time, and we knew that technical artists were going to be involved in whatever was going to happen next. So then having time, having these conversations with Trad and Sarah, we wanted to come up with something that we knew could work regardless of how, the scale of COVID progressed, because we started those conversations, and like we said, in March. So the city as our stage, having our audience be based in cars, we knew we could do that regardless of what the situation was. So then to move forward on that, it was just plugging in artists, finding artists that would be interested, and we knew that wouldn't be hard. We knew we just had to get the word out there. The real interesting part is that we really started this idea in March, and I really thought that there would be a little bit more competition for an audience by now. And we found that a lot of other art endeavors that would normally be presenting work are still really frozen right now. And I thought we might be competing with more things going on. But right now, there's really not much going on. I want to support anything that is going on, and there are things that are going on, but it's very, very thin. So I hope people understand that things can be done, and that it's important that artists have opportunity, not just to present their work, but also to earn a living, even if it's small.
Right.
So, that's where I'm at with it. And I'm willing to support it, however it moves forward. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does make sense. And, I think all of us are feeling your same sentiment when you're talking. It's like this, we all feel what you're talking about. And, Trad also being in the production, and knowing for as many years that I've known you, you've always been busy, you travel, there's a lot of things going on. Kaboom, the wall goes down.
Right. Yeah,
March 15th,
definitely.
whatever,
Everything stopped. Yeah, instantaneously. And that's hard. And it's not necessarily the loss of work. I mean, the loss of the monetary thing is difficult, but the loss of the artistic expression that I'm used to doing every single week on something new is really difficult to cope with. And that's the case, I think, with every artist. When we're used to having this outlet of performing, whether it's actually being a dancer on stage, a musician, or being a designer where we're actually creating something, it's terrible to have that cut off. And so it was so important that we sort of tried to figure out a way for all of us to sort of rally together to show that, we're still out there, that we're still wanting to create. And I think in this situation where we're sending our audience members to different locations throughout Cleveland and seeing people perform not on a stage, but seeing them adapt and showing their skills on multiple different levels. You just don't have to be in that theater box, that you can still see a really interesting work of art on someone's porch or in their driveway.
I think what I'm hearing from you is there's opportunity. This is creating an opportunity. And Sarah, let's talk about your company, and not just being part of this here, but the company that you run. How did that affect you guys? And then how does that kind of bleed into what you're doing right now?
Brian, I really want to talk about that, but I know that Kenya has to leave in about 5 minutes. So I really want to pass the torch to her just for a moment, and then I'll pick up where you
Perfect.
asked.
That's perfect. Kenya.
Hello.
There you go. So maybe maybe I should piggyback off that question to
Okay.
you, but make it more like as an individual artist.
Hmm.
How have you been handling this, and what do you see beyond August 31st?
Well, I don't know. I think I've gone through every single emotion that a person can possibly go through, along with the rest of the world. Um, um, it's been very hard, but I have to be honest, other than trying to get over the fact that this was not a zombie apocalypse, which was a big fear for me. Once I got through that, I began to approach it in different ways. My first thought was just the health and the welfare of the world. As an artist, I think as an individual artist, I work individually anyway. I'm always finding myself having to be a little more flexible in this light, or a little, stand still here, be able to cut my losses on one end, be able to, so I actually didn't freak out so much when COVID first happened. As a matter of fact, I was like, wow, welcome to the artist life, the rest of the world, So I didn't start to feel things about a missing of the art until around May. Mm-hmm. And that's where I felt like I craved listening to opera. I craved listening to sounds and music. I craved being in the studio. There were certain types of things. And I noticed that the people around me were craving it too. So while you all were figuring out, how to come up with a way to do that, on the other end of town, I was kind of doing the same thing, because I'm like, there's got to be a way to create art and put it out on the street and be able to just do something already. So I'm coming from that sense, and I'm understanding that the art is our artistry. What we do is something that it just must go on. It has to morph. It has to grow. Now it's being forced to grow. As far as what's happening beyond August 31st, I'm reinventing myself. I'm always reinventing myself. I have to. Art is what I believe in, and it's not going away. It has to morph into a new stage, a new thing. And I see that art is going to accommodate however it needs to coming up forward. I'm sure we'll be faced with challenges. One is weather in Cleveland. That's number one, But, we are Clevelanders. We walk around with boxer shorts in the wintertime. I mean, nothing can stop us. So having said that, I don't really have the answer, but I do know that it will be here. And I think once everybody starts to really be able to understand the trauma of what's going on and begin to settle in on new possibilities and how to step outside of the box, I think it may offer us a better way to experience our art,
That's actually really well said.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. I think this is our opportunity as artists to forge a new path. We've been doing the same thing for a really long time, and it wasn't necessarily really working, but we did it because that's what we knew. And so this opportunity has, I think, really opened everybody up to this idea of the fact that we're going to finally be able to maybe break out of that and grow all of ourselves collectively as artists. This idea about individual companies all forging ahead on their own sort of paths isn't necessarily really what the future is going to hold for any of us, nor should it really hold that. I think the group of collaborative artists working together and the varied group of collaborative artists working together from multiple disciplines are how we're going to come out of this in a much better way.
And Trad, I would say that the word collaboration's been in this sort of in our vocabulary for a while, but we had a sense of resistance to it. It's like we want to feel we have to keep our identity. For some reason, if we collaborate with another dance company, we thought we were going to lose our identity. In reality, it expands our identity, which is what's happening right now. We're expanding our identity.
Well, and we wanted to make sure that the artists that were involved with this, that we weren't asking them to create something that was in what Sarah, Chuck, or I thought should be created. Mm-hmm. We asked everyone to create something on their own. We didn't really want to be involved with that creative process. We wanted to bring together all of these different things. And it's amazing at how there is a commonality as a group of all of these collective voices, all separately, coming up with something that I think is going to be really special.
I'd like to add,
go ahead,
if I could, I'd like to add that, yeah, this really, you know, I love collaborating. I do. I know it's so strange for dancers. Dancers, imagine that, collaborating.
No, we're born to collaborate.
What are you, Kenya? What are you doing?
It is so taboo.
Collaborate.
Collaboration
is
we've been collaborating for years. You know, we've been collaborating for a long time. So, Ken, I don't know if I can agree with that. I think what maybe you're trying to say is that, again, we like to have our identity. We do. We like to feel who we are.
We can keep our identity. Sure, yes. We can definitely keep our identity. But what's kept me together as a dancer has been collaborating. Yeah. And what I really like about this this platform, this event, is that, you know, I'm going to be collaborating with people I've actually known for so long or heard about for so long, and we never stop and take the time. You know, Desmond Davis, I think all of you know him. I didn't realize he was as much of a choreographer as he was. I'm like, well, why don't you do something on me? He thought, well, why don't I do that? You know, and I said, you know, and Ishmael Douglas, I've seen his work. I've seen him around town. I've taken over his stages. Sometimes he's playing. I just hop on stage and start dancing. And next thing you know, I find him at Whole Foods the day after I talked to you, Sarah, and was like, why don't we work together? And he's like, why don't we do that? You know, so it's really nice because I get a chance to work with artists who are, you know, who have their very own, very distinct identity. And I get a chance to work with them. Finally, I don't know if that would have been something that, you know, if I had to do it before all of this, it would have been so tiresome. You know, you got to track people down. Now everybody's like busting out, ready to do something, you know. And so it gives me the opportunity to work in this way, which is really nice.
And I love the fact that Kenya's story about collaborations that normally wouldn't happen is we have a lot of artists that are this way in this process. Like, that's the cool part, is that we have a lot of different artists who are collaborating with people they've never worked with before.
Well,
go ahead, Chuck.
And Trad, I mean, the first thing I thought of was, I bet you Trad's at home. You know, like Trad and I will talk on and off, but like a year could pass easily in most cases. So, I mean, it's only because of this time that we're even able to do this. Right now I would normally be scheduling how I was going to load you know, a truck for gear and equipment for a show that was going to happen in 2 days, or unloading a truck from the weekend before. So I could have never plugged in on a project like this if it wasn't for COVID and the situation we're in right now.
Right.
Although I did love working with you last year, Chuck. You rock.
No
I
doubt.
can tell you that.
No doubt. It was great to see you.
I love the love. This love is good. I like that.
And Brian, if I could just pick up on
please do.
Collaborative conversation, I think that as a small, very tiny dance company for 22 years, Morrison Dance has actually relied on collaboration and resource exchange and idea exchange and brainstorming. And I think historically, dance, of all the performing arts, has been a truly community art form. I think it's branched out into, you know, styles that maybe aren't as social. But for me, the very heart of dance is the communication between not only the people performing together, because it requires people. So dance by nature is collaborative. It doesn't matter if you have a traditional ballet company with a director and dancers, there's still a collaboration because the dancers are bringing something to the picture. Or if it's sort of a more contemporary, modern-based, improvisational development, that's highly collaborative as well. And certainly there's someone shaping it as a choreographer or director or someone with a vision. But I think that dance in and of itself has always been collaborative in nature. And I know that this is not all dance, there's also music, but I think music, we rely on each other all the time. So I think people have just started to hear the word collaboration a lot, in a way that isn't as meaningful as it can and should be, which is that we all collaborate. None of us works in a vacuum. And this particular project really highlights and celebrates that spirit. And I think it's just amazing how many people are participating and have said, yes, I'm going to bring my own venue. And yes, I'm going to do this. And how can I help you? And what do you need? And, and we work together. And it's really exciting. There's like 10 different crazy maps where people can drive through the beauty of and see all these different performing artists in these different pockets of the city that we all live in. And it's really exciting. So
it's like it's a drive-in art theater. Drive-in.
Yeah.
But yeah, this idea of the scavenger hunt, I think, the fact
That's
that
scavenger hunt, right?
you don't know what you're going to see. You may know the artist's name, but you don't necessarily know what they're going to create for you. Because I think a lot of these artists are doing something really new and fresh. To sort of respond to what's been going on, or respond to what's going on.
This is really, I don't think I love this conversation. I think that we wouldn't have gotten together unless this collaboration happened potentially. So, and I just reiterate opportunity. You made a scenario, you had a scenario, and you just said, we're just going to do this. And you took a risk, but you saw it as an opportunity. You saw it as a venue for artists to create. And, I was going to ask the question about what our responsibilities are as an artist, but I think you guys all said it in your own way. We do have a responsibility, but this project is the answer to, yes, this is our responsibility. This is what we did. We're going to do. We bring it together. It's very exciting. I'm really excited. So why don't you maybe Chuck talk about the show one more time before we end this interview?
Oh, okay.
Well, the one thing that Trad mentioned, and I really want to, it was kind of a surprise to me as the idea started to morph of really paying attention to what the ticket holder, what their experience is going to be, and I'm a Clevelander, and I love Cleveland, and I know my way around fairly well. But this idea of getting into a car with, 3 of your friends and traveling around on this map to see these performances, which you may or may not have any concept of, that's just a cool way any day to spend an afternoon. The other point to that is if anyone's looking for a way in which they can support, endeavors that are trying to put art in front of an audience, buy a ticket, go on a journey. The other is the proceeds go directly to the artist. We're not managing some multi-layered nonprofit. We're 3 individual folks who came together to try to put art in front of an audience and then find a way to support that art by making sure the proceeds go directly to the artist. So you're not supporting 10 layers of nonprofit management. This is a direct way for you to enjoy a Saturday afternoon, and then 2, to support arts in Cleveland, period. So you buy a ticket, enjoy yourself, hang out with your friends. You've never done that before. We guarantee you that. You're going to see things you never saw before. And it really is going to be an adventure. And that's my wrap up of the idea.
Love it. That's great. So, Trad, why don't you give more of the information one more time about how to get tickets and the time and the date again?
So the performance is on August 15th, Saturday, August 15th. The tickets start at $12:35. You can buy a ticket from either on the east side, a downtown location, a west side location, or surprise me and we'll send you on a route throughout Cleveland. Tickets are available. The easiest way to get tickets is to go to our website, which is www.thecityisourstage.com. There's a button there that will send you to our ticketing website, and you can choose from one of the 10 performance routes. Right now on the website, there are about 37 different tickets that you could buy. All have a different starting time. Tickets start every half hour. You really have an opportunity to choose who you want to see and what you want to see. And I do believe it's possible that you can do 2 different routes during the course of the day. So if you want to do it twice, you can certainly do it.
Well, we're going to have a link once this video goes out. We'll have a link. Get on that link. This is a must-see experience, must-see show, a must-feel experience for anybody who has to go do it. So thank you, all 4 of you guys, for being part of this interview. I appreciate it. I love what you guys are doing. And I hope this... Click the link when you get off the interview, guys. Click it. Get your ticket. Okay, get your ticket, because we want. You know what it is. We all can agree to this. When people come, you feel that support. You feel the love. It's like it becomes not just the artist. It becomes that everybody's engulfing into the experience. The artists feel it. The people who come feel it. And when everybody leaves, everybody's basking in the feeling. It's just that's what we want.
The audience becomes the final collaborator.
Yes, and we need that now. This is what we need. This is what we need. So, you know what? Thank you so much, guys, for taking your time today. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you
so much.
Absolutely, and we'll be talking soon. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks again. Bye, guys.